Salutations friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a bit of a discussion and a top 10 list, but it's going to be a little different. So I'm going to be sharing with you 10 niche houses that I think are great introductory niche houses if you're looking to get into niche and you don't know where to start. This video will be on the longer side, so as always, I will link all the houses and the accompanying fragrances that I chose to represent the houses below. I chose 10 fragrances from my collection to represent each of these houses that I also think are great fragrances. If you don't know where to start, they're great. These houses vary in price points from very accessible to some of them are a little bit more luxuriously priced. And I did choose fragrances that I thought were more crowd pleasing. A lot of times, one of the things that people freak out with niche isn't just the price point change from like designer to niche. You're looking at like 80 bucks to 120 to like $200 to like way more. I tried to choose fragrances that were closer to designer price points, but also scent-wise were very crowd-pleasing, accessible scents, because I think as people start feeling more confident in purchasing niche, they'll start to get more adventurous. So I didn't want to start off with like some crazy, like, here's this avant-garde scent that smells like, you know, like Antarctica at noon if it were on fire. like definitely choosing more easily to understand scents, so that way you don't have to worry too much about like smelling a little too avant-garde, a little bit too olfactive art, and just kind of more beautiful complementary scents. So that being said, let's get into the video. First house and fragrance I want to mention is Imaginary Authors, and the fragrance I chose to represent Imaginary Authors is Slow Explosion. And as you guys can see, I've made a pretty decent dent in this fragrance. So I wear this one a lot. I don't post it on Instagram a lot. If you guys don't know, I post my scents of the day on Instagram. If you want to follow, check it out, link below. But the reason why I love Imaginary Authors is I think that there's a beautiful blend of artistry and creative olfactive vision, and it's translated beautifully to wearability. And with Slow Explosion, I would say is probably one of the most hyped fragrances from the house. This is a beautiful mix of apple and leather, and it just has some aromatics in there, and it smells kind of powdery and light and soft and sweet, but it still has a presence to it. And what I love about Imaginary Authors is the fragrances aren't crazy expensive, but at the same time, you're going to get something beautiful and unique. And the overall experience is also fantastic too when it comes down to the presentation of the bottles and it comes down to the presentation of the box. From start to finish, you really get that really awesome, creative, niche experience, and you also get a really ridiculously beautiful scent. Cape Heartache's amazing. Yesterday Haze is another amazing one. I have a hard time remembering names right now. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, please excuse me. But I think a starting off point, if you wanted to try a fragrance from Imaginary Authors, definitely Slow Explosions is the one I would recommend. Now this next one is on the pricier side, and this fragrance house has been around for a while, and there's a lot of debate in regards to, is this fragrance house worth it? Are they overpriced? If you're looking for a niche experience and you have a larger budget, I think that this house has a lot of offerings, and I think that they're pretty terrific. And it's Bond number 9. Now I chose New York Musk because I think this is one of the fragrances that is universally appealing. Now, this isn't like the most crowd-pleasing, universally appealing list. And if you want me to do a crowd-pleasing, universally appealing list, I'd be more than happy to do that. But the reason why I chose this one is I think when it comes down to the fragrances, this is one that smells very similar to higher-end designer fragrances. And so it's a great starting off point when you start to get those little bit more expensive fragrances. You start to kind of test the waters and you see if it's something that you like. This has beautiful longevity, I mean beastly longevity, great presence, great sillage, great projection. Its performance is amazing, and it just smells really sexy. So I find that Bond number 9 is a great house to explore if you want the exciting niche experience, and I think that New York Musk is a great scent if you wanted to test the waters and wear something that's probably closer to a designer fragrance, but you start kind of testing the waters and see if niche scents are something you want to start investing in and exploring. This next house is actually a perfume store, and I've just been enraptured with everything that's come out of them, and it's Perfumology. Perfumology is just, the store itself is amazing, and the fragrances that come out of there are so dang just good. Like, they're memorable scents. And I chose Bliss to represent Perfumology because this is the first fragrance they released. What I like is these scents have a whimsy to them. These scents have kind of a little twist to them. There's a little something else there, but they're very accessible, they're very affordable, and they're very beautiful. So this is a great house in regards to fragrances to explore for wearability, but also kind of like that unique creative take on scents. Definitely really love that. When people think of a niche fragrance house that's accessible, and some people are tired of hearing about it, but it's such a great house, is Jo Malone. And I think out of this entire lineup, this is the house that is the easiest for people to transition from designer to niche. The pricing of these scents are pretty good, and most of the scents are fantastic. I chose Wild Bluebell because this is my favorite, one of my favorite scents from them, and price accordingly, it's great. Now, I myself cannot wear about, I'd say, half of the Jo Malone fragrances because there's something with my body chemistry that makes certain fragrances from that house turn sour. A great example is grapefruit. I love the grapefruit scent. It's great. You guys don't know me. I love grapefruit. No, they're great. And I've tried wearing it so many times, but after about 45 minutes, it turns so sour and rancid on my skin, I can't. And I've gone through probably like a dozen little samples, or decants or anything, trying to see if maybe something about my skin chemistry has changed. It hasn't. There's a few other fragrances too from them that just don't work on my skin. It's a personal thing. It's nothing against the brand. But whenever a Jo Malone fragrance works on my skin, I get so excited and I buy it right away. I like the fragrances too because you get a really unique experience. If you love the scent, you can buy a bath shower gel, you can buy a candle, there's room diffusers. You can really get a unique, fun, like all-encompassing experience with Jo Malone and get a unique, wearable, accessible scent. It's really fantastic if you're looking to get into fragrances and you really enjoy women's fragrances. If you enjoy more youthful scents, it's a great line for that, but they do have some heavy hitters if you're looking for those more robust unisex scents as well. There's something for everybody from the line, and the price point for these scents is pretty accessible as well. It's practically the same price as designer fragrances, which is also really good if you're looking to transition from designer fragrances and trying some niche ones. This house is one I've worked with in the past, and I've really enjoyed everything I've smelled and experienced from them, and it's Raw Spirit Fragrances. What I like about this house is that they give back to the communities where they get the materials from, and I really love when anybody does that. If it's a grocery store, if it's a coffee, if it's clothing, anything to give back rather than just take, I think is fantastic. So Raw Spirit Fragrances creates a lot of really kind of, I would say, earthy scents, but they're not like earth. It's not like, say, Encore Noir or Sycamore, things like that, where it's just like you're putting your face in the dirt, but it's the most positive, most beautiful smelling dirt you've ever smelled in your life. Like, I love that smell. But what it is it kind of really celebrates whatever it really wants to do. Summer Rain to me is a great rendition of that. It's kind of celebrating the rains in the summertime in Florida. And if you guys don't know, that is our rainy season. It rains every day in Florida during the summertime. It's pretty bad. So smelling the vetiver and the dampness, but the dryness, and you can almost smell the humidity in it, but in a positive way. It just took me there, and it's just so fantastic. But I chose Wildfire because I find this scent to be really gorgeous. It's a unique special take on woody aromatics that again centers on vetiver, but not as much as Summer Rain, and I just find it to be really gorgeous. These scents are affordable, these scents are accessible, they're unique and beautiful, and they give back. So if that's something that's really important to you, it's a great house to look into. And again, the scents are really easy to wear and understand. There's nothing wrong with niche houses going crazy. I love that. If you guys know my channel, you know I love to smell really out there. Like, compliments for me are very rare because of how I like to smell, but that's fine because that's how I like to smell. But a lot of people don't think that way, and that is perfectly fine. So when I chose these scents, I did want to make sure I was choosing things that smelled kind of borderline like a designer fragrance, which still smells amazing. There's a reason why they're very popular. They smell good. Very attractive, very complimentary scents, and really nice gateways into the niche experience. I think it's a little less intimidating if you smell like something you want to smell like because it smells good and not like, oh my goodness, what was this person thinking? This next house is great. I really love the entire aesthetic and thought process behind this house. So this is Gallivant, and these fragrances are designed to be traveled with. So they are designed to like kind of be able to be thrown in your bag or your carry-on and pass all the TSA stuff. But at the same time, they're really celebrating different areas of the world in a beautiful, delicious way. Like, the scents are all fantastic. Every single one I've smelled was great. Amsterdam was probably one of my favorites, but my most favorite is Brooklyn. This is sweet, it's clean, it's got a little bit of a lemon tart flavor to it, and it just kind of smells like crisp, cool air, like in the very beginning of fall. And I have stayed in Brooklyn for a few weeks before. I've been to New York a bunch of times, and the air smells not like this, but you hope it smells like this. But the idea of these scents is just, it's really cool that they take inspiration from the culture and they take inspiration from the locals and just the history and kind of create a unique kind of little passport stamp, but a scent. And it's really cool, and all of the fragrances are amazing, and again, very accessible, very affordable, very beautiful, but at the same time there's a unique creativity with each of them that makes it, you know, gives it that fantastic niche experience. Guys, I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. Would you believe me? That's why I keep jumping over my words. This next house is Atelier Cologne, and this is probably, aside from Jo Malone, the most easily accessible fragrance house, niche house out of all of these. You can find most of these at Sephora. They're really easy to get your hands on. But what I love about Atelier Cologne is the fact that their fragrances say, this is what it's supposed to smell like, and it's what it does. And that might seem kind of like, why? But there are sometimes you see a fragrance and it's like, this is supposed to smell like the beach in the summertime during fireworks season, and you smell it and it's just straight salt. Like, the translation, the words are more beautiful than the juice, and you understand where it's coming from, but it wasn't translated properly to a fragrance. What I love about Atelier Cologne is they are so good at literally translating what you want in a scent. And I think no truer words can be said than their citrus fragrances. The Bergamot, the Pomelo Paradise is one of their most popular. Clementine, California. I love this one. I bathe in this. It's so good. I do still wear this a lot. Again, you don't see it a lot on my Instagram because I'm trying not to overload my Instagram with the same 6 fragrances. So if you see a day or two that I don't post what I'm wearing, it's probably one of the scents that I just literally drown myself in high. But what I love about these scents is that they're quite a literal representation, but done in an olfactive way. So with Bergamot, it's Bergamot. With Clementine, like, this is a great example, and this is why I chose this one. It literally smells like a big, juicy glass of clementine juice. I love clementine. I don't know if it's clementine or clementine. Oh my darling clementine. I don't know. But I'm really bad at pronouncing, because then I remember, like, in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, he was like, clementine, tangerine. I don't, ignore me. But this literally smells like if you poured a glass of clementine juice on your head, but make it fashion. Like, it just smells really good. And it's just, it smells like clementine juice, but in a fragrance, and that literal translation, but not done so literally that you can't wear it or it makes it hard to wear, especially for people who don't want to smell like super literal. It translates beautifully into a fragrance, and I find that Atelier Cologne is like experts at doing that. So they're a great house to explore. They have a lot of different options for a lot of different tastes. If you're looking for something fresh, something woody, something aromatic, something spicy, something powdery, something daytime, something, you know, evening, you can really find just about anything you want from Atelier Cologne. And at the same time, they're beautiful. Like, they're great, and again, very accessible brand. And I think that that's really important for introductory niche scents, is that accessibility, because a lot of people get intimidated or they don't know where to try. And I think that finding a few fragrances and kind of dipping your head underwater for the first time in a really cold pool and kind of getting that rush of your body temperature kind of normalizing, and then you're like, oh, this is normal. Like, being able to kind of get used to purchasing niche scents and exploring outside of your comfort zone is really important before you start making those bigger investments online for niche scents that you maybe wouldn't be able to purchase. Maybe you don't want to buy samples, but you know, the only way you can explore this niche house is by purchasing samples or a discovery set. Well, you probably would feel more comfortable doing that if you had more confidence in niche scents by having accessible niche fragrances that you've been able to experience and love. Anyway, I'm going way off on a tangent. Next one. So this house is one that specifically, if you're looking for gourmand fragrances, check this house out. They are amazing. And it's Pana London, and the fragrance that I chose to represent is Brandied Pear. I find that, again, talking about literal interpretations of scent, I think niche houses have a great way to really take that literal translation and actually do it, because they don't have to answer to shareholders and things like that, which again, I understand. I understand business and making a profit, and you need to, you know, make a profit for one scent so you can create another. Like, I understand that, and I don't have anything against that at all, actually. But having to not answer to a lot of those peoples or to those things, minerals, vegetables, whatever you want to call them, I think gives a creative freedom to really explore certain sides of scents and really have fun with them. And Pana London, I found, has really explored gourmand fragrances and been amazing at literally translating gourmand feelings of tasty things you want to eat and translating them into sexy fragrances you want to wear. Pink Champagne Truffle is a great example of it, and Brandied Pear too is one of my favorites. This is a great one to wear, especially in heat and humidity. It just smells really good and fruity and juicy. It's got a little bit of booziness in the background. The entire house, again, is really accessible in regards to its price point, and it's just wearability is there. They're all great. The last two houses are kind of, I wouldn't say more legacy houses. They have been around for a little bit longer than some of the others, but these two houses are fantastic. So the first one is Acqua di Parma. And I love Acqua di Parma, and I have a lot of fragrances from Acqua di Parma, but not a lot of fragrances from Acqua di Parma. You could definitely have a lot. The one that I chose is from the Blue Mediterranean line, and it's Bergamatto di Calabria. And I know I mispronounced that, I'm sorry. The Blue Mediterranean line in general, I find to be a great stepping stone into niche fragrances. Cologne as well, if you like those kind of old world gentlemanly scents, but you don't want anything that smells, you know, like something you smelled on your grandfather like 50 years ago, which I will tell you, I like to smell like that. Those smells are so complex, they're so sexy. There's something about smelling like a gentlemanly old man that I am all about. Like those vintage masculine scents, I am there for. Not everybody wants to smell like that, and not every gender wants to smell like that. So if you're looking to kind of segue from designer to niche, I think the Blue Mediterranean from Acqua di Parma is excellent. They're very easy to wear. They're very accessible scents in regards to, they're not crazy expensive. They're unique in their own way, but they're not going to be too intimidating in regards to how they smell or the composition. They're just really refreshing fragrances, and I find that those are the types of scents that people really gravitate towards for their day-to-day life. Now, The one thing I will say about the Blue Mediterranean line in regards to some of the other fragrances from this list is that when it comes down to longevity and performance, they're not going to perform as well as some others. Some people that matters for, some people it doesn't. I just wanted to let you guys know if it did matter. But it's a great house to check into in general. It's a fantastic, beautiful experience. You get beautiful bottles, beautiful presentation. There's a bit of a history there to those scents, and they just are attractive. So I think this is a great house to check into if you wanted to get into niche. Last and certainly not least is probably one of my favorite houses. I have a lot of houses. I mean, I wouldn't say that my collection is primarily huge. It's huge for the normal person, but for a fragrance collector or a YouTuber, my collection is subpar, like in the middle. But I do collect certain houses. So I collect notes, and there is a rhyme and rhythm to how I collect, but there are some houses that I just collect because of the house. And this is one of the fragrance houses that I collect, and I love these scents, and it's Penhaligon's. And I think Penhaligon's, up until the Portraits collection was released, was really underappreciated in the fragrance community. Like, there were people out there that loved it, but I think the Portraits collection really kind of brought them back. And the thing is all of their scents are amazing. There's a history to these scents, there's a beauty to these scents, there's a maturity to a lot of these scents, but there's also a youthful playfulness to some of them as well. There really is something for everybody. And if you are intimidated by the price point of these full retail price, these are so easy to find for like a fraction of the price. Other places you can find really tremendous deals on Penhaligon scents. So I think, you know, obviously buy with caution, make sure that you're buying from a reputable vendor, but you can buy like a $200 bottle of Penhaligons for like 50 bucks. So when it comes down to accessibility, even though the full retail price is a little on the insane side, you can find great deals on this house. Now I chose Savoy Steam specifically because this is a beautiful kind of interpretation of an old classic of theirs done a little bit more modern. So this smells steamy and kind of a very aromatic, very strong on the aromatics here, but that beautiful rose is in here. This is a gorgeous scent that can be worn by men or women. This is the Eau de Parfum. There is a cologne. The cologne doesn't have near the power of this one. I would probably say the cologne is something you wear like right out of the shower. And this is something you would wear when you were going out. But this entire house is beautiful. The presentations are so dang cute, and the quality of the juice is amazing. I'm just a huge fan of Penhaligons, and I do collect them. I do have a bunch, and I do plan on getting a lot more in the future. What I like about them, again, as an introductory niche house, is they don't go too crazy in regards to how they smell. The smells are all very classic. They do take a unique modern twist on some of the newer ones, but at the end of the day, they are designed to just smell mass appealing, but in a luxurious, elevated way. And I think that that's a really great way to kind of start experiencing niche, is to kind of experience fragrances that smell crowd-pleasing but are elevated. That's a great way to kind of test the waters and see if it's something you want to go into. I know this video is crazy long, and so if you sat through the whole thing, thank you. But I didn't want this just to be like a top 10 list. I wanted this to also be kind of a bit of a conversation. I wanted to talk about each of these houses, why I thought these houses were important to be a part of this list. And if you are looking to get into niche, these are some great recommendations, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you agree with any of these houses or fragrances on these lists, fantastic. If you don't agree with any of these, or if you have any additions, let me know in the comments section below. I'd love for this to be a great resource for people coming, trying to experience niche or kind of test the waters and see if it's something that they wanted to get into. So just let me know in the comment section below. As always, guys, thank you for dealing with my crazy tired ramblings. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this content. I love seeing this channel grow, and I will see you guys next time. Make sure you're all happy and healthy, and have a great day, month, year, whatever, and I'll see you later.